So, right before we started kicking off Peoria Regionals, which was the first ever Lost Origin Regionals, we had a set of 3 or 4 regionals right after Worlds that would still be taking place in the Astro Radiance format. And in case of you guys haven't heard about it, in Baltimore, a Radiant Charizard deck won, and it was talked about heavily. But you know what's absurd is that no one is talking about the deck that won Porte Alegre. I want to say that's how you pronounce it at least. You look at it, it's what's so different here, right? What's so special? Sure, there's a Regigigas on top, until you look at the winning deck list, it's what the hell is this doing in here? Why is there a slacking? So, it's a real shame I don't think anyone's talked about this deck, because we have had sort of defensive Arceus variants, but they've sort of really leaned into their defensive nature with Sharon's Care. This deck does play Sharon's Care, in fact 3 of them, but it falls way more into its offensive nature. It's just cool, because who's gonna use slacking? The ability there sucks, right? But shoutouts to Delta and Chetta, who ended up taking first at this regional. Kind of a shame because, Radiant Charizard is the one that's going to catch all the headlines. No one's going to talk about the random ass slacking, especially the people who are just in the media, right? So if we just actually look at the deck list here, it's pretty weird because you're using any draw engines. You don't have any barrels, you don't have any summons. That's the 2 main engines you had during the Astro Radiance format, and there's just none of them here. We don't even have a Crobat. This deck really relies on Sharon's Care to be able to deny prizes from the opponent. We only play a singular Dunsparce, so even in moving into the next format, which would be Lost Origin, the one that we're in right now, it just seems well, they can't really Echoing Horn and kill a bunch of things at once. And it's kind of hard because, the Arceuses are probably the easiest thing to kill. You have the Ordinary Rods, which can even put the Arceus back into the deck to prevent them from being boss Palkian. And some other things to note is that we got a singular melody in here. We have a wide array of tools. The Tool Jammer, I don't know exactly what this one is for. Yeah, I just couldn't tell you. Choice Belt and Cape of Toughness. So they're all very good tech options. I don't mind the Tool Jammer as much, by the way, especially moving into the next format, because it can help stop just certain decks who are trying to hit a super oh no, the Tool Jammer is for the Arceus stuff. It helps turn off Choice Belts against opposing Palkias, for example, or opposing Arceuses that might be trying to knock you out. And then we got 2 Vs here and a Dunsparce. This is right after the World Championship, so people were still having the Sidgeway on their mind, so it makes sense to run one of these. Blissey can run through some of the smaller prize decks. It's got a lot of HP with the Cape of Toughness. It just automatically charges itself up. And then Slacking's the real big boy. I'll go back here so we can look at it. It has 260 damage, which is nothing to scoff at. Just combine that with the 3 attachments you get from Arceus and then a singular powerful energy, and you're going to be able to knock out anything that's on the field. So really, I think it's a damn shame no one's cataloged or gone through this deck. The most I've seen is Omnipoke mention this, and there's a Pokebeach article talking with the person who made the deck. But it just got completely skipped over. That's a crying shame. So I'm going to do this deck justice and show off some gameplay of it. So moving on to the first game here, I believe this is against an Arceus Gudra. This deck does prime on attacking Arceus a lot, particularly any of the Arceus sub-attacker variants. I suppose it could do decently well if people are running Acuity and Big Charm, but I haven't seen too much of those, even though I think that's probably the best way to be played Arc Intel. But yeah, it's supposed to just Arc plus secondary attacker. At least from what I've seen on the ladder. And we're going to go ahead into the Arceus Mirror. One of the other things I didn't mention in the introduction is the Tool Jammer is just okay in general. It messes with air balloons, but realistically, this was built for the last format. So some of the cards in here I'm a little surprised about, the Ordinary Rods caught me off guard. I know there's like Echoing Horns, but I didn't think you'd be shuffling all your Pokemon back in. Anyways, I attached a tool chamber here. I'm not necessarily sure if it's right to do that. It could save the Sharon's Care, but we're gonna Marty anyways. And I just realized I don't think this game lasts long enough for 3 Sharon's Care, so I just get rid of it. I also played Path to Peak down because since my opponent went versus Arceus, it means that they're gonna have the initiative on their Starbirth. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just put down Path to Peak and I'm gonna deal with it. I feel that this matchup is like decently hard just because you can't you can't 1-hit KO Gudra, and sometimes you can even like 2-hit KO it. But here it's just like, well, I'll just deal with it. The more damage I get out there, the better. Here I get a really, really good opportunity. I just go ahead and retreat, go into Slaking. And I'm gonna take out the Gudra like way before it evolves. And yeah, just win it. I thought about putting Blissey down, but Blissey you don't have to put down immediately. The Arceus you definitely want on the field beforehand. That way, so you can Sharon's Care a VSTAR and just evolve it. So yeah, game 1 was like really easy. I got the Slaking up, I stopped their Starbirth, and it just went well. Next up is Arceus Blissey. This is just like another sort of game where Slaking goes ham. But my start isn't the greatest. I'm debating whether or not I want to put that Path to Peak because I don't really notice that's my hand right now or what I'm going to find. But I realized I want to attack with Slaking, and you know I may not hit the what's it called? Yeah, I may not hit the VSTAR afterwards, and I have Trinity Charge available. Oh, I don't Path to Peak. Okay. I'm so confused. There's some games where I like made a rationale for it, and some games I didn't. I'm still not entirely sure. Once again, this deck's pretty weird because it doesn't have a traditional like search engine. You just kind of break stuff again. I get like Path to Peak here. I'm gonna put it down this time because I know that the smart play is always to retreat and go into Slaking. And then by that point, I have basically everything I need, right? Like, it'd be nice to get like a Sharon's Care or have the Starbirth available, but just attacking the Slaking is getting the game as he just forfeits immediately, way too far behind on tempo. This is the real game. Mostly, it was like those 2 games, and then the game at the very end that was very Slaking oriented. And this is more just showing like what the deck can do on its own, because like, you know, Slaking is pretty good, but it's not the entire focus of the show. Though we do end up starting Blissey. This isn't my favorite Pokemon to start with. I'm even like thinking about starting Slaking, but I realize Slaking is so useless without anything. Even if I can't like KO a Comfey with Blissey, at least it gets damage out there, and I only need about like 1 more energy to get going. Also, I haven't seen so much of that Lost Box deck, the one from Peoria that Toward ran. It just seems to be everywhere on the ladder. I think it's a good list. I was basically saying at some point, like after this set came out, I was like, wow, everyone's ready Empoleon. Isn't it stupid that we're not ready Path to Peak and Lost Box? And lo and behold, someone did. Although, it's funny because on Limitless, I saw people were already canceling Cologne in their list instead. I was like, you guys are on crack. You don't need the Lost City or the Training Court that much. It's, you know, worth it. Also, you have Lost Sweeper, so you can make room for your Charlie. I think this is the biggest thing, is that people don't like want to put that Path to Peak and then turn off their own Zard, but you have Lost Vacuum, which is equally as good. So, you know, it's fine. I'm just sort of talking through my opponent as he plays Solitaire over here. If you look at my following turn, there's like hardly any top deck here that like changes the game. Though the water is actually really good. I'm gonna go ahead and grab an Arceus. Arceus is like definitely one of the things that you always want on the field of time. Because I'll show off a little bit later, but chaining the Arceuses together is like really strong. Blissey is usually... It's so weird because I feel like Blissey is the attacker who's supposed to come in later into the game and then it charges up a bunch of energy quickly and it gets out of hand. So this is just decent against one prize decks because it's so bulky. You put a Cape of Toughness on it, we're not already Big Charm. It's technically bulkier than the, than the Arceus VSTAR. So, you know, nothing too much. I'm just gonna start straight forward. My opponent's really slow. I'm pretty sure this is the Peoria list. I have no reason to presume it's not, just for what I've seen so far. There's not any other energy types, there's no Articunos, which is usually a telltale sign. And I can't remember if that list had the Articuno, or not the Articuno, the Oranguru in it, I'm going to presume. Here, I won 2 bosses orders up the same line. This is only because I want to get a KO on something. The KOing is essentially like drawing a card here. So I just go ahead and get that done. And we end up here. I decided to take up the same line too because like there's 3 Comfies on the field. Like if he gets value out of all 3 Comfies in this game state, it'd be absurd. I'm a little surprised he's not going for more Lost Ends stuff as well, but his Lost Ends already pretty filled out as well. I just go ahead and share his care, and I'm trying to set myself up for a scenario. I also decided Slacking's not going to be worth jack shit in this matchup. It's just way better to be attacking the Arceuses or Blissies. Too much work to make the Slaking work here. I start attaching to the one on the bench. My plan is to basically take a hit and share his care and go to the other one. And there's actually a split line here that I'm not exactly sure if I should have done. Also, I'm pretty sure it just fits innocently here, so I'm just going to talk about it. So it's either like, do I evolve and share its care, or do I just share its care and re-put down Arceus and then turn Nova? It's really, really tough for me to know. Also, I have 2 energies, so this is why I ended up not using Sharon's character. I'm trying to grid it out. I'm mostly trying to see if I can get another draw out. But in hindsight, I think I'm so far ahead in prizes. I think going for the more aggressive... Is it aggressive? I can't tell. Maybe it just accomplishes the same thing, but I'm attacking a little bit slower. Anyways, yeah. Go ahead and share his care. We can evolve now. Put down the powerful energy here. And we're just looking at it as like, double turbo energy is technically stronger on Blissey. Just because it's so much easier to attach it there. I just split my energies around too, so I get double turbo energy to the Arceus on the bench. And, you know, I'm 3 prizes in. He has to get a knockout on every single turn to basically win from this state. And I believe he's about to concede in like a second. Just gets nothing. I'm not sure exactly what happened with him. Maybe he just like didn't hit any of his art pieces, but I go ahead and take that game. This is like a meme deck. I'm not usually a fan of like fighting against meme decks because there's been a few times where I've played against like whatever the fuck something is. I just like, well, I need footage, so I'm gonna go ahead and shove it in here. But this one's like funny because of just the way I handle it. So we start Slaking. Unfortunate, probably the worst start in the deck, but when there's only like 7 Pokemon you can start with, it's whatever. I also put the Arceus off the top, which is pretty good. It allows me to get an Arceus. Just attach double turbo. Yeah. He leaves Basculin. I have no clue. I just presume this is some budget-friendly stuff. I see the fighting energy is like, what's this? I don't know what this is. Just being super, super confused as he just immediately goes for that. And I see it's Big Saiyan. I was like, I see. And actually what's funny is I didn't realize until he evolves the Basculin that he's using the new Basculin as well. Anyways, we just attach the energy, Marty, and figure ourselves out from here. You basically only need 1 Arceus and VSTAR, I feel like, and like the entire game. So it's fine for me. Gonna try to grab a switch. There's a single one in the deck. I go ahead and grab them after I peek, mostly just trying to turn off that Greninja draw, so he has to like basically play from behind. I just end up attaching it all to Slaking because why not? There's something else for me to attach to. And yeah, I think this play was extremely good for me. And the Nuts Parse was mandatory too. Just prevents this guy from not needing like 2 energies to kill me or something absurd like that. It is good for Big Saiyan, it gets 180. It's like, whatever. Oh gosh, I just care. The biggest thing is that you basically have to set up your entire play from like either turn 1 or 2 if you were playing against any deck with the Path to the Peak in it. Because, like, if you are, then you can't really rely on having Starburst later. You don't play, like, a single Pumpkaboo or a Lost Sweeper. Granted, this was made before Lost Sweeper was a card, but, like, you weren't playing any copies of those. So it's not like you just immediately get rid of the Path to the Peak, which is tough. So you're just really relying on those early turns and lining out your gameplay from the beginning. I think the deck is okay. I'm, like, genuinely surprised it won a championship, though. Anyways, we're in a really good position. I mean, Sand Cannon can still screw us, technically. And I don't know what other things he could be ready that could possibly, like, hurt us here. He also gets his Zoroark down. But yeah, he gets a KO with the forget the attack on the Basking Legion is called. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw Blissey in here. I have to do some math real quick because I'm really bad at Blissey math. Double Turbo Energy messes my head. It's like, it's 2 energies, but it's minus 20. So it nets up to being a 40. It's basically just a plus 10. And I throw Tool Jammer on because Choice Belt maybe. Why not? Technically, yeah, I don't think it matters, but it's just like, I have the tool. It's probably better on Blissey than anything. At least the Cave of Toughness could go on the Slaking, and that fixes the sub numbers, but it doesn't. It sort of does for Blissey, does it? No, because you go from 240 to 300, so Tool Jammer is just fine. Anyways, he goes for this, and this is the funny part. He gets 4 energies, this 240. I was rolling around my seat when I saw this happen. I was like, that's hilarious. He just misses the KO like that in 4 minutes. I would too. Thank you, Dunsparce. Very cool. Anyways, that sort of demonstrates like the Dunsparce power, like the normal box power, I guess, huh? Anyways, this is the last game, and this is actually my favorite game. This is the spoilers. This is the game from yesterday as well. I just wanted to repost the entire thing because it's cool. Actually, is this one my favorite, or is it the Lost Box game? I think the Lost Box game is pretty good too, because I use Shared Scare super well. Anyways, yeah, I just like look and see what we got here. I pull up the Slaking because I know my man's gonna do big damage. And then I'm like wondering where the Choice Belt goes. I think the Choice Belt goes on to... Well, first we have to see what we're fighting against, right? Technically. Because at this point, I don't know that I'm fighting Arceus Blissey, which is apparently a deck. That's not like this one, I don't think. I mean, it could be, but there's captures, which is listed as a run. And then what else are we gonna see? I think we see a Radiant Gardevoir. Oh, there's Psychic Energies too, yeah. So yeah, I decide, Choice Belt, probably not gonna do a whole lot for us. It would be okay on the Arceus, or like another Arceus that I put down, because you can charge it up with all water energy or other energy. Powerful energy could go on it with the DTE, but it doesn't. And then here, I forget, does he actually use the Starbirth? He doesn't. I double checked that. It's on the far right side. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and be like, okay, I'm all good. Just set myself up. Retreat, go into Slaking, and Slaking does this thing. Like, this is the perfect situation for Slaking. Not only that, but I put the Choice Belt on it because it's like, I was looking at Blissey's HP and it's like, oh, that's 300. That's not enough with that powerful energy. So, really comes in clutch here. I think Flying Pikachu is also 310. So, this is like a really, really good answer to like that, which is one of the few VMAXs that was actually being played. Like, what VMAXs actually got played at Worlds, right? It was the Pikachus mostly. I guess we saw Aggron. And then we also saw, I feel like there's one more. Crobat. Crobat's also 310, I think. Urshifu is good too. But, you know, there's only one person who played Urshifu, and that was in Senior, so we'll... Anyways, yeah, Slaking's gonna bop him. I should have put the powerful energy on the Slaking just for the clip, but it's so unnecessary at this point. And yeah, just get another KO. We already know this game is over. Blissey's never gonna get enough damage to KO me, and there's nothing like that could come down. Also, the Crushing Hammer fail is so like icing on the cake. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.